I turned my key in the lock and pushed open the front door of my house. The house I bought with my own money 3 years ago. The familiar scent of home hit me, but something felt wrong. Voices drifted from the living room. My wife Kara's laugh, light and carefree, followed by a deeper voice I did not recognize. I walked toward the sound confusion building with each step. When I reached the doorway, I froze. Kara sat on our couch close to a man I had never seen before. Wine glasses, candles, her red dress that I had never seen her wear. She looked up and saw me. Her face went pale, then immediately hardened. She jumped to her feet and pointed at me. "Get out," she said. Not a question, a demand. I stood there unable to process what was happening. "Kara, what is going on?" She pulled out her phone. "If you do not leave right now, I am calling the police." Before I continue with what happened next, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe, because what you are about to hear will show you exactly what happens when someone tries to steal what is rightfully yours. Let me take you back to how this all started. 4 years ago, I met Kara at a coffee shop in downtown Portland. I was 26, working as a structural engineer for a mid-sized construction firm. She was 24, bright-eyed, working freelance as a graphic designer. We talked for 3 hours that first day. She had this way of making everything feel easy, natural. 6 months later, we were inseparable. A year after that, I proposed. But before I proposed, I had already made one of the smartest decisions of my life. My grandfather passed away when I was 25 and left me his entire estate. Not a fortune, but enough to buy a modest 3-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood outside the city. I paid cash. Every penny. The deed had only my name on it because I was single at the time. When Kara and I got engaged, my lawyer suggested a prenuptial agreement. Kara signed it without hesitation. She said she loved me, not my money. I believed her. Our first 2 years of marriage were everything I hoped they would be. Kara worked from home designing logos and websites for small businesses. I left early each morning for construction sites and came home to her cooking dinner. We talked about having kids someday. We planned vacations we would take. Life felt stable, secure, full of promise. Then about 6 months ago, things started to shift. Small things at first. Kara began going out more often. Girls' nights, she said. Drinks with friends from her online design community. I never questioned it. Why would I? She deserved to have a social life. But then I noticed she was always on her phone. Texting, scrolling, smiling at the screen in a way that felt private, distant. When I asked who she was talking to, she would say it was just her group chat with other designers. Nothing important. She started dressing differently too. More makeup when she went out, tighter jeans, lower-cut tops. Again, I told myself it was normal. Maybe she just wanted to feel good about herself. But the distance between us grew wider. She stopped initiating physical contact. When I reached for her at night, she would turn away and say she was exhausted. Work stress, she claimed. Too many deadlines. I tried to be understanding. I picked up more chores around the house. I brought her flowers. I asked if she wanted to talk. She always said everything was fine. Then came the business trip. My company assigned me to oversee the foundation work on a commercial building 3 hours north in Seattle. It was a big project, and I needed to be on site for 3 days. When I told Kara, she reacted strangely. Instead of being disappointed like she usually was when I traveled, she seemed almost relieved. She smiled and said it would give her time to catch up on work. The morning I left, she woke up early to make me breakfast. She kissed me goodbye at the door, told me she loved me, and waved as I drove away. It felt warm, genuine. For a moment I thought maybe things were getting better between us. During those 3 days, I texted her regularly. Morning check-ins, photos of the job site. Asking how her day was going. Her responses were short. Good. Busy. Talk later. I tried not to read into it. She was working. I was working. We would reconnect when I got home. But on the 3rd day, we finished the inspection ahead of schedule. By 3 in the afternoon, I was done. I could have stayed in Seattle, grabbed dinner, driven back the next morning like planned. Instead, I decided to surprise her. I wanted to see her smile when I walked through the door early. I wanted to show her I missed her. I got in my truck and drove the 3 hours home. The entire drive, I imagined her reaction. Maybe we could order takeout, open a bottle of wine, talk like we used to. I pulled into our driveway just after 8 in the evening. That was when I saw the car. A black Dodge Charger parked right where I usually parked. I did not recognize it. I figured maybe one of Kara's friends had come over. I grabbed my duffel bag from the back seat and walked to the front door. I used my key. The lock turned smoothly. I stepped inside. The sound of laughter floated from the living room. Kara's voice, light and flirty. Then a man's voice, low and amused. My stomach tightened. I walked down the hallway, my footsteps silent on the hardwood floor. When I reached the living room, I stopped in the doorway. Kara sat on the couch, legs tucked under her, leaning toward a man I had never seen before. He was older than me, maybe 35, wearing a charcoal suit with the jacket draped over the armrest. On the coffee table sat 2 wine glasses, a half-empty bottle of red, a tray of cheeses and crackers, and 2 flickering candles. Kara wore a red dress I had never seen. It hugged her body in a way that made it clear she had not dressed like that for a quiet night at home alone. They both looked up at the same time. Kara's face shifted from surprise to something harder, colder. The man looked confused, then annoyed. I opened my mouth to speak, but before I could, Kara stood up fast. "What are you doing here?" Her voice was sharp, accusatory, like I was the one who did not belong. I blinked, trying to catch up. "I finished early. I wanted to surprise you." I looked at the man on the couch. "Who is this?" The man stood up, straightening his tie. He looked at me like I was an inconvenience. "Who are you?" he asked. I felt my pulse spike. "I am her husband. This is my house." Kara stepped between us, her hands up like she was trying to create distance. "Addison, you need to leave." I stared at her. "What?" She crossed her arms. "You heard me. Leave. Now." I could not believe what I was hearing. I looked at the man again. He was watching Kara, waiting for her to handle it. That was when it hit me. This was not a friend. This was not some innocent visit. "Kara, what the hell is going on?" She did not answer my question. Instead, she pointed toward the door. "Get out of my house." "Your house." I felt anger rising in my chest. "This is my house. I bought it. My name is on the deed." Kara's expression did not change. She tilted her head, almost smug. "We are married. That means I have rights to this house too, and I am telling you to leave." The man, clearly emboldened by Kara's confidence, took a step forward. "Man, you heard her. Just go. Do not make this harder than it needs to be." I looked at him, then back at Kara. "I am not going anywhere. This is my home." Kara pulled her phone out of her pocket. "Fine. If you will not leave, I will call the police." I actually laughed. I thought she was bluffing. There was no way she would call the cops on her own husband in his own house. But then I heard it. the beep of the numbers. 9, 1, 1. She held the phone to her ear. My heart pounded. She was really doing this. A voice came through the speaker. 911, what is your emergency? Kara's voice changed instantly, softer, shaking, scared. Yes, there is a man in my house. He will not leave. I do not know him. Please send someone. I could not move. I stood there staring at her as she lied to the dispatcher. Please hurry, she said. I am scared. She hung up. The man put his hand on her shoulder. It is okay, babe. They will be here soon. Babe. She let him call her babe. In my house. While I stood 10 feet away. I should have left. I should have walked out, called a lawyer, figured it out from a distance. But I was too angry, too stunned. I stayed right where I was. 15 minutes later, I heard the sound of car doors slamming outside. Red and blue lights flashed through the front windows. 2 officers walked up to the door. Kara ran to meet them before they even knocked. Thank God you are here, she said, her voice breaking. He just showed up. He will not leave. I told him this is my house and he keeps saying it is his. I watched from the hallway as she played the victim. Tears in her eyes, trembling hands. It was a performance and she was good at it. The officers stepped inside. One was older gray at the temples, calm and measured. His badge said Officer Bryant. The other was younger, stockier, with a sharper edge. Officer Walsh. They both looked at me. Sir, what is your name? Officer Bryant asked. Addison. This is my wife, Kara. This is my house. Kara cut in immediately. He is lying. We are separated. He does not live here anymore. I do not want him here. The man who I now knew was named Troy, based on Kara whispering to him earlier, stood behind her like backup. He nodded along with everything she said. Officer Walsh looked at me. Do you have any proof this is your house? I nodded. Yes, everything is inside, all the documents. Kara shook her head. He should not even be here. I changed the locks. He must have broken in. I held up my key. I used my own key. The lock has not been changed. Officer Bryant raised his hand. All right, everyone calm down. Let us sort this out. Sir, can you show me the documents? I led both officers down the hall to my home office. Kara and Troy followed, whispering to each other. I opened the filing cabinet and pulled out the folder I kept for the house. Inside was everything. The deed with my name. The mortgage papers paid in full 2 years ago. Utility bills in my name. Property tax receipts. I spread them out on the desk. Officer Bryant picked up the deed and read it carefully. He looked at the name. Addison. Only Addison. He looked at Kara. Ma'am, is your name on this deed? She hesitated. No, but we are married. That means I have a right to this house. Officer Walsh shook his head. That is a civil matter. But you called us and said this man was trespassing. According to these documents, he owns this house. He is not trespassing. Kara's face went red. She looked at Troy, then back at the officers. But he cannot just kick me out. I live here. Officer Bryant nodded. That may be true, but that is not why you called us. You said he was an intruder. He is not. This is his property. I could see panic starting to creep into Kara's expression. She was losing control of the narrative. Then I remembered something. 2 months ago, I installed security cameras inside the house. I did it because there had been a string of break-ins in the neighborhood. I wanted to protect our home. I never told Kara because I installed them on a Saturday when she was out with friends. The cameras were small, discreet, hidden in the corners of each room. I pulled out my phone. "Officers, I have security footage." Everyone went silent. Kara's eyes widened. "What?" I opened the app and scrolled to earlier that evening. I turned the screen toward Officer Bryant. The footage showed Kara and Troy entering the house at 5 in the afternoon. He had his arm around her waist. She was laughing. He leaned in and kissed her. She kissed him back. They disappeared down the hallway toward the bedroom. 20 minutes later, they came back out still smiling and started setting up the candles and wine in the living room. Officer Bryant watched in silence. When the video ended, he looked at Kara. "Ma'am, this does not look good for you." Kara opened her mouth, then closed it. She glanced at Troy, who suddenly looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. "Okay, fine," she said, her voice rising. "But you do not understand. He has been abusive. I was scared of him. That is why I called you. I felt like I had been punched. What? I have never touched you." Officer Walsh turned to her. "Do you have any evidence of abuse? Any medical records, police reports, witnesses?" Kara stammered. No, but—" Officer Bryant cut her off. "Ma'am, we just watched video of you entering this house willingly with another man while your husband was out of town. You were not scared. You were comfortable." Kara tried a different angle. "He should not have cameras in the house without telling me. That is illegal." Officer Walsh shook his head. "Actually, it is his house. He is allowed to install cameras on his own property." The room felt smaller. Kara was trapped, and she knew it. She looked at me desperate now. "Addison, please, just tell them this is all a misunderstanding." I said nothing. Officer Bryant stepped forward. "Ma'am, you called us and filed a false police report. You claimed this man was trespassing when you knew he owned the house. That is a crime." Kara's face went pale. "Wait, no. I did not mean—" Officer Walsh pulled out his handcuffs. "You wasted police resources. We could have been responding to a real emergency. Turn around, please." Kara backed up. "No, you cannot arrest me. I did not do anything wrong." Officer Bryant's voice was firm but calm. "Ma'am, do not make this harder than it needs to be." Kara looked at Troy. "Do something." Troy held up his hands and took a step back. "I am not getting involved in this." Officer Walsh walked toward Kara. She turned around, tears streaming down her face, now real ones this time. He cuffed her wrists behind her back. "You have the right to remain silent," he began. Kara sobbed. "Addison, please, tell them to stop. I am sorry. I am so sorry." I stood there, arms crossed, saying nothing. Officer Bryant looked at me. "Sir, do you want to press charges for the false report?" I took a breath. "Yes, I do." Kara let out a wail as Officer Walsh led her toward the door. "Addison, please. I love you. This was a mistake. Please do not do this." Her voice faded as they walked her outside. Through the window, I watched them put her in the back of the patrol car. Officer Bryant turned to Troy. "And you need to leave. Now." Troy grabbed his jacket and his keys. He looked at me, opened his mouth like he wanted to say something, then thought better of it. He walked out without a word. The house was silent. Officer Bryant stayed behind for a few minutes to take my statement. He asked if I felt safe if I needed anything. I told him I was fine. He handed me a case number and told me Kara would likely be released in the morning after posting bail. He advised me to contact a lawyer immediately. I thanked him, and he left. I stood in the living room, staring at the wine glasses and candles still on the table. I felt numb, angry, relieved, heartbroken, all at once. I grabbed a trash bag and threw everything away. The candles, the food, the wine bottle. I wanted no trace of what had happened here tonight. Then I sat down on the couch and called my best friend Luis. He answered on the second ring. I told him everything. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, "I am coming over." 20 minutes later, Luis was at my door. He did not say much. He just sat with me. We did not drink. We did not talk about what happened. He just stayed until I was ready to be alone again. That night, I did not sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment. How had I missed the signs? How long had this been going on? How could she look me in the eye and lie like that? The next morning, I called a divorce attorney. Her name was Patricia, and she had good reviews online. I explained the situation. She told me that because I bought the house before the marriage and had a prenuptial agreement, Kara had no legal claim to the property. The video footage would make the divorce straightforward. She also told me that filing a false police report could result in fines or jail time for Kara, depending on how the prosecutor handled it. Kara called me that afternoon. She had posted bail. She was staying with Troy. She begged me to drop the charges. She said she panicked, made a mistake, and never meant for things to go that far. I told her I had already filed for divorce. She cried. She pleaded. She said she would do anything to fix this. I hung up. Over the next few weeks, the divorce process began. Kara tried to fight it at first. She hired a lawyer who argued she deserved part of the house because we were married. But the prenup was airtight. The house was purchased before marriage with my money. Her lawyer could not find a loophole. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized. Kara got nothing except her personal belongings. The judge also ordered her to pay a fine for the false police report. No jail time, but it went on her record. I heard through mutual friends that Troy left her a few weeks after everything happened. He did not want to deal with the drama. Kara moved back in with her parents 2 hours away. I have not heard from her since. The first few weeks after the divorce were hard. The house felt too big, too quiet. I threw myself into work. I took on extra projects, stayed late at the office, anything to avoid going home to the emptiness. But slowly, I started to heal. Luis dragged me to the gym. We started playing basketball on weekends with a group of guys from his work. I met people, made new friends, started building a life that felt like mine again. I joined a local volleyball league. I started hiking on Sundays. I even adopted a dog, a golden retriever mix named Copper. He fills the house with noise and energy, and he does not care about my past. He just wants to play fetch and sleep on my bed. I realized that I had been holding on to something that was already broken. Kara and I had not been happy for months. I just did not want to admit it. I wanted to believe we could fix it, that love was enough. But love is not enough when the other person has already checked out. Looking back now, I am grateful. Grateful that I protected myself with the prenup. Grateful that I installed those cameras. Grateful that I stood my ground when Kara tried to take what was not hers. I could have left that night. I could have walked away and let her win. But I did not. I fought for what was mine, and I won. Not because I wanted revenge, not because I wanted to hurt her, but because I knew that if I did not stand up for myself, no one else would. 1 year later, I am in a good place. I still live in the same house. I repainted the living room, bought new furniture, made it feel like a fresh start. I am not dating anyone yet. I am not ready. But I am okay with that. I have learned that being alone is not the same as being lonely. I have friends. I have hobbies. I have a career I am proud of. I have a home that is truly mine. I do not hate Kara anymore. I do not wish bad things on her. I just do not think about her at all. She made her choices, and I made mine. I chose to protect myself. I chose to value my own worth. I chose to walk away from something toxic and build something better. And that, more than anything, is what I want people to understand. When someone tries to take what is yours, whether it is your home, your dignity, or your peace, you have every right to fight back. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with truth. The truth is the strongest weapon you will ever have, and it will always, always win in the end. If you ever find yourself in a situation where someone tries to take what is yours, stand your ground. The truth is your strongest weapon, and it will always prevail in the end. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to stand up for yourself when someone tried to take advantage of you? Drop your story in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for listening. And remember, protecting what is yours is not selfish. It is self-respect. Take care of yourselves out there, and I will see you in the next one.